Okay.
Sorry, my
Yeah.
bad.
All right. So yeah, the purpose of today really was just to do a little bit of a check-in with the membership and see how everybody's coping. What's the temperature out there? What's everybody finding with COVID as we move into phase two? The Realtor store is open and available for curbside pickup. So if anybody didn't know that, it is still open. It is still available. I believe, and Zach can comment to this, there's like a little pickup box that was installed at the building. So if you need anything from the Realtor store, it is still there and still available for purchase. And then we brought in some committee chairs. So we have Valentina Pasquini, we have Jen Babister, we have Jake Eivers, who's just logging in now, and we have Bailee Cruz, who, if we're lucky, will provide us with a little bit of an update on their committees that they're chairing. So let's start with Val. You want to give us a little bit of an update? Val is the chair of our Realtor Safety Task Force. So we've been working pretty hard over there. So do you want to provide a quick update for us, Val?
So there have been a lot of change. Obviously, a lot has happened. When we started the task force, it was just literally pre-COVID. So a lot of things have happened. We had to take a step back for a bit. Now we're getting back into it. I had a great conversation with Zach the other day just to kind of really figure things out moving forward. Number one priority for the task force is really to develop, we need an action plan so we can move forward and create what is going to be the future of this task force. It's so imperative now, especially with how everything's changing into the digital world. COVID has brought up a lot of new topics in terms of safety. I've been getting some feedback from agents within the board and where their thoughts are. So that is priority one. Once we have the action plan, we can kind of move forward from there. The second topic on the agenda that we discussed about and we are still in the process of putting together is a camera system for open houses or potentially even showings. It's basically like a plug and play camera that you can purchase at the Realtor store. That they're going to be in stock. I think this is we all thought this was something great for realtors in terms of our safety. And, if you feel uncomfortable, but you need to do an open house or just want to do it, it's a good selling point for your sellers as well if you're in their home. So this is another great option. We're still working on that. We don't have everything set in stone. That will be up and coming. Like I said, we've been kind of getting back on track last week. So finally, I feel like we're getting some momentum with that. And then the final aspect of it is we're working with the police department with getting their input and material to share with the membership. Now, right now, they aren't doing anything. They won't do anything virtually, and there's nothing being done in person. So that part is on hold. But I think because we need that action plan so we can get manuals, et cetera, into play, I think that's okay because we need we need the foundation before we get to the other stuff. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or if Rose, you want to touch anything on that?
No, I think you covered everything. The mandate of this task force really is to create an action plan of what this program is going to look like on any given year. Once that's done, the task force will disband and staff should be, in theory, able to roll out the program year after year, long after I'm gone, long after Val's gone and the committee's gone. So we're putting a lot of work into that. And I'd be happy to take some feedback if anybody has questions or feedback on that. Val and I could take that back to that task force.
Yes, please reach out because this is something new and we're all trying, we're trying to establish something for the future, and it's so critical that we do that. And I know that there's a lot of resources out there from like a US perspective through NAR that we can pull from, but we need our own resources for our own board members, to have at the brokerage level and at the board. It's something to, as newer agents come in, they need that guidance, and we're going to create that through this task force.
Any questions on the Realtor task or comments at this point? Ray?
No, just a quick question. Val had said that the cameras be available for purchase at the store. Do you have a cost?
You wanted to?
We don't have exact costs in place because nothing has been decided. So we're still putting that together, and we're just the goal is to have the most cost-effective option for members. That's the goal. It's not, throw this insanely expensive system out. It needs to be something that all agents can take advantage of if they choose to do so. So that's something that, hopefully we can have in place like for September, because open houses, I believe, are back in play with strict protocol as of the end of the month, like going into July.
I don't know. I hope so.
There's been some rumblings, but there's a lot of rules. There's been a lot of rules in place. I was going to look into that further today. So I think if we have everything in place, have everything prepared, I think by September, we're going to be doing, what we used to do best. So let's be ready for it. And definitely as we have, if we're going to have these weekly check-ins, I think that, as we get more information, you could just do an update, say this is what's going on. Keeps me accountable.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
We've looked at a few models. We're just trying to find a balance of ease of use and keeping it cost efficient as well. So we're working on it. We don't have any models left selected permanently yet. All right. Jen. Jen is the chair of our member engagement committee. And I know we've met quite a few times and have been working really hard over there. So what do you got for us, Jen? You're muted.
Had to be safe. Kids are starting to get up.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so from our last meeting, it's got my Coles notes. We were currently beta testing the association software for text communication for our members to receive texts from the board. Rose and Chris Hoagie are the beta testers. So have you guys been doing that, Rose?
Yeah,
follow up on that.
I think it's pretty cool. Like I get a little text and it's like, hey, reminder, you have a Zoom meeting and you're registered for the Zoom meeting in the morning. Here's the link.
Yeah, I got one yesterday too. Am I in that beta test, Zach?
I think
I got one from you. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I got one.
So those guys will be following up with the technology committee to determine the interest in the testing. And I think it's going to probably be a lot better than emails because it's more direct and just short and sweet. You're more prone to look at that. So we'll find out more at the next meeting for that. Prior to COVID, there was supposed to be speakers addressing the Bill 145. So right now the staff's looking into having virtual sessions, and we'll update at the next meeting for that. It might still be in meeting, we'll see. And the next one is discussions about Gary Vee. We're gonna see if it should be a virtual or in-person session and what's best for the association. There's been discussions of possibly having him speak at Bria's 80th anniversary. The staff is going to determine in spring 2022 to see what's involved and if that date's what's involved in holding that date, if we can get it. Let me flip around. Depending on the requirements, the group will evaluate next year whether hosting an event will be feasible. And if it is, we're going to probably look into 3 more boards to co-host this with Bria. And also there's another discussion made to host an event for after COVID, after the restrictions are fully lifted. We'll be discussing this probably at the next meeting. And additional plans for the GM membership meeting planned for the end of November at the next meeting. So that's all I got for you for that.
Yeah. this committee, I feel for you because we really had to pivot. we had
Circle.
we had some grand plans. We thought we had everything figured out, and then our first Zoom meeting with post COVID or in the middle of COVID, we really had to pivot and reevaluate what we're doing, and I guess like the logistics behind some of the things we were going to do and how it would translate if we did like a virtual thing, right? So Gary Vaynerchuk, if you haven't seen or heard him, he's amazing. It's Gary V. He's on Instagram. He's everywhere. He's absolutely phenomenal. He's got tons of books. And we were looking at doing that. Now we got to wait and see if we're going to even be able to have, 1,000 people together in one venue. And I mean, it's not till 2022, but we got to protect the board and do our due diligence. So that's kind of on pause. Any questions at all about member engagement or questions for Jen, comments? Seeing none. Jake, are you there? Jake.
Hey, sorry, I was muted.
Okay. Jake is the chair of our Realtor Community Cup, so the golf tournament, and you'll be providing us with probably a very brief update.
Yeah, no, I was going to say I can't really go in depth about it. We had a nice date planned and a venue, and this was all before COVID was even a thought. And quite honestly, like when I think it was Tangora said, let's put forward that we just cancel the tournament until next year. I was kind of like skeptical about it because I thought we'd be back to normal, but here we are. It was a great call. I think he did the right job. We all agreed that we should just postpone it for this year because gatherings of more than how many people are not going to happen for foreseeable future. So hopefully we can do it, next year.
And just so everybody is aware, the Realtor Cup Committee actually makes a lot of decisions in this year that will affect next year. So the committee's work is not completely done. We will continue to meet later on this year because we will make sure that we're selecting a venue and selecting a charity and everything to prepare for 2021. So we'll meet later this year. We'll reevaluate. We'll see if we think we're going to be able to do something like that. Fingers crossed that we can for 2020. We didn't lose any money on it, so that's good. But I believe the Brantford Golf and Country Club has moved the date and our deposit to the following year. So those are some of the things we're going to have to chat about at a committee level. Any questions or comments for Jake or that committee? Easy crowd, thank you. Seeing none. Thanks, Jake.
You're welcome.
Bailee, do you want to do a quick update?
Might as well, I'm here. So with community awareness, our biggest conversation, I think, before COVID was Random Act of Kindness Day. So that is the end of November is Brantford's date. So at this point in time, it's still a go. We haven't really put a ton into planning it, but if we are able to with COVID and restrictions being lifted, we will continue on and kind of join in with Brantford's Random Act of Kindness. So like I said, more details will be planned then. When COVID first began, the Ontario Realtors Care Foundation actually donated money to each board based on the size of their membership and such. So they gave us $3,960 to donate to a local organization that was essentially shelter-based, or they had specific criteria for it. So we actually, BRIA, the Community Awareness Committee, and then the Board of Directors decided that we would actually top that up to $5,000 because we did have funds available with community awareness. And we decided to donate it to the Brantford Food Bank. And the reason being is because I think a lot of families that weren't utilizing the food bank before had been utilizing it due to COVID. And I think the stat, don't quote me on this, but it's approximately every dollar that we donate can buy $5 worth of food. So our money was going to go really, really far with the food bank. So we thought we could touch more people in the community by doing it that way. So I believe that's already been situated, right, Rose? Donated and everything? Okay.
That's all
Okay.
in the world.
Awesome. And the last thing is Midco Bid. We've combined efforts with the Government Relations Committee. We're wanting to do something that's like a large scale BRIA's own project to help with our community's issue with attainable housing. So this is a very, very long-term thing because it'll be big. It'll make a big impact on the community, right? So we're kind of brainstorming ideas right now on how we want to approach it. I think there'll be a lot of logistics that go into getting this situated. So that's where we're at right now. We're kind of just coming back together for our next community awareness meeting with some different ideas about how we can do that and how we can really make an impact on the community and help out with the issue of attainable housing. So that's really that for community awareness. And then I have one small point for scholarship too. Our deadline is approaching. It's June 26th. So if you guys know anybody in the community who is pursuing post-secondary education, whether it's trade school, college, or university, they can go on our website, download the application, put a quick project together, and then submit the application. So hopefully we can get a few people in, and we have 2 scholarships to give away, 2 $1,500 scholarships. And that's about it.
Thank you. So the money that we received from the Ontario Realtor Care Foundation, that's from all of us. So every month we donate, it's $1 or $2, I can't remember, per member per month. We contribute to the Ontario Realtor Care Foundation, and then at the end of every year, they essentially give that money to us so that we can have an impact locally. Due to COVID and the fact that they're running a huge surplus, they've given everybody that money now as like an emergency relief thing so that we could impact a charity in our community that really needs it, especially during this time. So that's where that came from. So that wasn't just, you know, from AREA, Ontario Realtor Care, that's from you and I and all of us. We contributed that. BRIA topped it up, and we've been able to have a huge impact at the food bank there. And with the GR committee and that update, we are working, GRC and community awareness working together. As everybody knows, there's thousands of families on a wait list for affordable housing here in town, and we're just trying to figure out what we can do to help. And we have a lot of ideas. Don't quite know where we're going to fall yet, but it's a big thing, and it's long term, and it's going to be, you know, all realtors in Brantford coming together and putting roofs over heads. That's kind of what we're looking to do. What?
I said big things.
Big things. 2020 is just a kickoff year for us. Any questions at all for Bailee and the community awareness? All right, seeing none. Any questions for me or the board or our colleagues here? Anybody have anything they want to bring forward or chat about? All right, easy crowd. Seeing nothing, I will just bid you adieu.